Yeah, I have a question about science.
Okay.
How many genders are there?
There are many genders because gender has nothing to do with biology. It has to do with society.
That wasn't a number. Many is not a number.
There is no set number of genders. Gender is not biological.
There's no set number.
Now, do you have an actual honest question, or just to try to a gotcha, try to do something, but you're not doing anything?
Yeah, what's a woman? Can you define what a woman is?
There is no objective definition of what a woman is. Just like there's no objective definition of a chair.
There is a definition of a chair.
What's a chair?
It's something you sit down in.
So your mom's face.
No, that would be my mom's face.
Your mom's face could be a chair, sir. See, this is the problem. Definitions are arbitrary. They're not objective. And that's why when you ask what's a woman, it's a malformed question. It does not exist.
So nothing can be
A
defined.
woman is defined loosely. It's tethered loosely to sex. Females are typically feminine. They're less masculine. They have certain ways they dress, certain ways they wear their hair, certain behaviors, attitudes, roles. But there is no objective way to be a woman. It doesn't exist.
XX chromosomes.
That's sex, not gender. There's a difference.
Adult human female.
That is your biased definition.
It's the definition we've used for several years.
Yes, but we have since learned since the 70s, and we've realized that there's a multitude, a spectrum of genders, because there's a spectrum of ways that people identify sexually. Our brains are complicated, sir. It's not binary.
You're saying gender is something innate.
No, gender is something that's tied to our neurochemistry in a way. But because it's tied to the brain, and the brain is complex, so will gender be.
So they were born that way. They were always that way.
Yes.
So how can it be societally
You're
constructed?
born that way. You're not. I'm sorry.
I said if they were born that way, how can it be socially constructed?
Well, the words we use, the roles we give, are made up by society, but the basis of these genders are in the brain.
So there's no one definition for what a man and a woman is.
Nope. In fact, in some countries, a man wears wigs and has long hair and is feminine. In some countries, it's different. In some countries, people see relationships differently, right? Everybody has different versions of what it is to be a man or woman.
I can wear a wig too.
Yeah, you can.
Still a man.
The problem is, in your given society, right, how you identify matches the typical definition of what society deems it to be. It's all societal. Okay.
What makes it societal?
Well, the fact that people have certain behaviors, certain dress codes, certain roles in marriage and relationships. That's societal. That's something that society has brought upon us. But the way we think comes from the brain.
So you think men can get pregnant?
A trans man, yes.
What's a trans man?
Somebody who is biologically male, but identifies as a man.
They're biologically male, but they identify as a man.
I'm sorry, biologically male, but identify as a. I'm sorry, a trans woman. They identify as a woman.
How are they going to get pregnant if they have XX chromosomes or XY chromosomes?
They have female body parts. I'm sorry, I got it confused. They were born female, but identify as a man. So yes, a trans man. because they have female body parts.
So it's a woman.
That has nothing to do with pregnancy.
So you think men can get periods?
Because men, what a man is merely a gender. It's not a biological fact. It's like you didn't understand anything I just told you. I took time to actually explain this to you, and the fact that you still don't understand it is very sad. Do I
You're
have
a
to explain
far
it again?
left extremist.
Should I explain it again to you?
You're a far left extremist.
Okay. Have a good day. What's extreme is telling people that they're not valid. That's extreme. What's extreme is discounting an entire population of people because of your ignorance about who they are. That's extreme. What's extreme is harming others because of how they identify. That's extreme. What's extreme is not even recognizing your own ignorance and deliberately being ignorant because of your bigotry. That's extreme.
You doing good today?
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 21. Well, 22 as of Monday. I came on here to ask you, how do you validate veganism whenever you look at things like the not natural selection, the food chain? How do you validate veganism inside the food chain? And when I say that, I mean like other animals hunt other animals and humans are animals. So whenever you say like veganism, I'm sorry that I keep going on. Should give you a chance to talk.
We
So
don't have to partake in animal consumption to be part of the food chain. We can be plant-based and be part of the food chain just as easily.
yeah, but even though it's easier, does that necessarily make it wrong to not be a vegan?
What makes it wrong is the fact that you're unnecessarily harming animals.
But are other animals unnecessarily harming animals? When a lion
Not
goes
necessarily.
in and
Well,
gets at a,
that is something that we don't really have a say in because we can't talk to the animals and tell them to change. They
right?
don't speak our language.
I mean, and that's okay. That's very
And
fair.
plus, we cannot control nature. We're not nature's policemen. But what we can do is change our own actions, and that's the contention here. Your job is to change based on your ethics.
And I get it. I just don't see how, you know, me going to eat a steak is any different than a lion going to kill a boar, you know?
The difference is that lions don't have stores. They eat out of necessity.
Yeah.
Humans do have stores. We have choices. And with choices comes responsibility.
So it's our responsibility to not eat meat.
Yeah, I think it's our responsibility to be vegan. Absolutely.
Do you eat eggs?
Nope.
No milk?
Only plant-based milks.
Lord have mercy. That is kind of okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Uh Lord, I don't even know what to say. I feel like that's just so I feel like veganism and having an opinion on it, or not even an opinion on it. I think just veganism in general is just subjective. I feel like everybody has a different say in that.
Of course. But
I
the
feel like it's
problem
so
is that
biased.
most people say they love animals.
Yeah,
Most people say they love animals.
yeah.
And if you're going to say you love them, why do you not act that way? Right? You're being hypocritical
Well,
by
here's the thing
harming
though.
animals for no reason when you say you love them.
You can say you love animals, and I bet everybody in this chat, all 300 and about 400 people wouldn't go and eat a giraffe if they had the chance.
Right.
But I
But you're
know they
eating
wouldn't go and
innocent
eat a
animals.
dog if they had the chance, or a cat.
But
Yeah.
if they have
Why
the chance
is
to
it?
do that,
Why is this that it's okay to eat some animals but not other animals?
because
That
some
is the
animals are
entire
game.
hypocrisy.
I mean, I get it, but some animals are just game. Cows, they're game.
Why?
That's just what they are. Like you go fishing.
Why? Why? Why?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you
Yeah,
could
there
ask
is no
why to a lot
reason.
of
There
things.
is no
That's a great
reason.
question.
There
That's a
is
great
no
question.
reason. It's just your opinion.
Yeah,
In reality, you're harming somebody for no good reason, right? That's not justified to me.
but at what point do you call an animal somebody?
Every animal is somebody. They have thoughts, they have feelings, they have emotions, they have sentience, they have consciousness, they have awareness, they have
Yeah,
personality, they have an
but
understanding of the world around them. They are somebody. They're not objects.
okay. Do you think the word somebody is subjective, or do you think it's objective? Or
When we use it for people,
consciousness?
look, when we use the word somebody in terms of people or in regards to people, we should use it the same way for other animals.
You think
We
so?
are in no way different from the other animals such that they are not someone or they are just
Well,
objects.
the same way that you say we have responsibility over certain things because we have choices and options is the same way they don't have responsibility over certain things because they act out of necessity.
Yeah. The
You
problem
know?
is we do have responsibility, right?
Yeah.
With power, with choice comes responsibility. So that's where our ethics comes in. We don't listen to cows and go, "Hey, what should I do, cow? Should I eat you or not?" We listen to ourselves. And if you're going to say that you love animals, you should not be harming them.
Yeah.
Period. There's no reason to.
So what I'm gonna try to not deduce this in the wrong way because I know a lot of people have been, kind of like trolling you a little bit. What I'm hearing from you is that now that we have progressed to a certain amount as a society, we should take more responsibility in our actions and be nicer to the ecosystem.
Yep, exactly.
That I love the outlook. I do. Maybe one day I'll become vegan, but yeah, I do love the outlook. I'll definitely have my, thoughts about it. That might keep me up at night. All right, Mike.
Yeah,
Appreciate
well,
it.
keep learning. Look, keep learning. At least you're honest. Keep
Yeah.
learning. And I would say, yeah, you should definitely look into it more.
Okay, I got you, man. Appreciate it.
Plant-based proteins are complete proteins. They have all the amino acids. The profiles might differ, but they have all the amino acids your body needs. Rice and beans, one meal has all the protein you need. There is no problem getting protein as a vegan.
Hey, bro, what's up?
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 18,
What, you're reborn?
2005.
Okay. What's your argument? What's your question?
So I have a question about, so you're a vegan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you give this equal value to animals as humans?
I don't.
Okay, why
Not
don't
about value.
you? Okay, so you just value animals enough to the point where you wouldn't unalive them?
Yeah.
Okay, and what value do you even give to animals to begin with?
Well, the same value I give to humans in the sense that we're both conscious, both aware, both sentient, both don't want to die, don't have to die.
Okay, what about like a jellyfish that has no brain to produce consciousness?
Yeah, this is a good question. Jellyfish, it's possible that they feel pain. I believe they have a nervous system. I'm not exactly sure. But as a vegan, in my opinion, I would say no. I would say it's wrong to eat them still because they may have a consciousness or to some degree or sentience to some degree. It's a gray area. Some vegans might say it's okay. But some people are saying that they have a nerve net. Yeah, so if they have any notion of nerves or pain receptors, I would say don't harm them at all.
Okay, now I have another question. Are you pro-choice?
Yes, I'm pro-choice.
Okay, and I'm guessing is because the fetus doesn't have consciousness before
No,
24 weeks, right?
so being pro-choice has nothing to do with ethics. It has to do with legality, right? I think it should not be illegal for a woman to choose to do with their bodies that they want to do.
Okay, so you're pro-choice for all 9 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody should be able. Nobody should be forced to give birth. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. So why in that case is it okay to like unalive a living thing, but not like when we want food, for example?
It's not about being living or not. It's not just about being living. It's about sentience. That's the qualifying factor.
Yeah. Well. I like after 24 weeks, a fetus has the capability of consciousness. So why do you think?
Okay. Okay. Well, then in that case, I would say morally it's wrong in some circumstances, but legally it's not wrong. It should never be illegal to have an abortion because
So it's,
abortion access is healthcare for people. And why would I deny that? Just because I disagree with you getting an abortion doesn't mean it should be illegal. I disagree with you eating meat. I think, but does that mean it should be legal? No, I think it should still be legal, but I disagree with you morally. See?
okay. So you're
How this
separating
works.
legality and morality.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. So you don't think like eating meat should be illegal then?
Well, if it was a perfect world, I would make it illegal, but I'm not going to sit there and do that.
If it
That'd
was
be
a
wasted
perfect
time.
world, would you
That'd be
cut
wasted
off?
time.
If it was a perfect world, would you cut off abortion after 24 weeks?
No, I would not cut off abortion at all because again, abortion there's a lot of complexities to it. It's not as black and white as pro-lifers make it seem to be. It's a very complex issue. There's a lot of factors involved. The mother's personhood, their body, their rights, their human rights, their all kinds of factors that play into it. And it would be ridiculous to say no, it should be legal. Because what if somebody's life is at risk there? You know, the mother's life.
Okay,
And
yeah, I understand that.
I don't think it should ever be legal.
Okay, because honestly, me, I'm just kind of on the point of on the fence of veganism. I don't know, because I just like to me personally, I just simply don't value the like an animal enough to like change my lifestyle around it, you know?
Okay. Do you think that um, harming dog fighting, is that okay to you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
The gains and benefit of that are
Right. Yeah.
nothing.
So you don't have to harm them, right? So you would be against that stuff, right? But also you don't have to change so much to go vegan. You don't have to change your lifestyle that much at all. At first, maybe, right? But once you become vegan, it's like easy. It's like learning a new job, right? After like a few weeks, it's like it's natural to you. You don't think about it anymore. It takes a bit of learning. It takes very little effort, sure, but not enough to be this big change that meat eaters think it is.
Okay, I understand that. I guess I have one more question. I mean, there's some plants that have, you know, scientists are looking into it, and they kind of have like their own way of communicating. They have a way of like avoiding things that do them harm, very similar to like what a jellyfish is like. So
No.
what?
So plants may respond to stimuli in their environments, of course, but so does my phone. My phone emits signals and reacts to stimuli, but it doesn't make it sentient. There's a study called Debunking the Myth of Plant Consciousness. It's a great study that goes into depth into debunking these myths. Plants do not have the same type of neurochemistry at all, or even remotely close to an animal's, such that would give them some kind of sentience. it has to do with certain ion channels. It's a very complex thing, but if you go look at the study, you'll recognize that no, it has no ability for sentience or pain. By the way, there's no pain receptors, there's no brain, there's no central nervous system at all. All there are basically these certain electrochemical impulses it produces, but so does every living being on Earth. It's not sentient, especially not in any human or animal way.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'd have to look into that study myself, but I mean, yeah, I'll definitely like think about changing my lifestyle.
Good, yeah, good job.
All right, thank you, bro. Have a good day.
You too.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
That's good, man. A couple questions. I'm not here to be like an a-hole or anything. I just want to have a conversation with you. So I recently went vegetarian for kind of just health reasons. I have like a lot of stomach problems, some GERD, things like that. But and I do feel a lot better, right? I think since stop eating meat, I've felt like a huge difference. As far as veganism goes, I think part of me is still on the fence about it. I'm still learning a lot about veganism, but when looking at, well, let me ask you a question. I mean, like, do you think that our diet's purpose should be to essentially be like focused towards like the longevity of humans? Like, do you think that a diet should be what helps us live the longest?
Of course, but as long as the ethics don't get in the way. I mean, as long as it's ethically sound, yes, of course.
So I just been trying to do a lot of research on diets and looked at like blue zones, as I'm sure you're aware of, and like Mediterranean diets, Japanese diets, and things like that. And so a lot of these people eat primarily vegetables, right? Grains, heavy vegetable diets, but they also eat a little bit of meat, which is, based on like our ancestors, right? We share like 99.9% of our DNA with chimpanzees, and chimpanzees eat mostly plants, vegetables, but they eat a little bit of meat, right? A little bit of raw fish, a little bit of insects, things like that. Do you think that that's like the ideal diet, or do you think
I don't think there is such thing as an ideal diet.
Okay.
However, there are some studies like the Adventist Health 2 study, which took a look at vegans who were religiously vegan. They're Seventh-day Adventists. They're religiously vegan. And they have very positive health outcomes. They have low rates of cancer, low rates of heart disease. There's a China study. There's the reversal of heart disease study by Caldwell Esselstyn. There's a lot of research out there showing vegans are very healthy to their meat eater counterparts, including Mediterranean diets. But to me, let's say Mediterranean diets were more healthy. The effects are so negligible that it wouldn't make sense to harm those animals when we can still be vegan and be perfectly healthy.
That makes sense.
The animals, yeah.
Do you think that so I agree. I think like the less harm we can cause on this earth, the better, right? Like I totally agree with you. Do you think though that there are some people with just certain foods and food intolerances, and of course, like they're not the most common people, but I've heard that there are some people that have eaten like strictly carnivore diets and have seen like their autoimmune disorders disappear, and have seen like extensive benefits from that. What do you say to what do you think about those people that maybe they have adverse effects trying different diets, and the only thing that seems to work?
Look, you can be on a cocaine diet and lose weight. Just because you're on one specific diet, it doesn't mean that some positive things happen. It doesn't mean that you're specifically healthy. There are a plethora of factors that go into your health outcomes, especially in the long term. There's no research on carnivore studies that are positive in long term. I mean, we've seen the data on this to some degree, Meat eaters have higher risk of heart disease, higher risk of cancers, arthritis, diabetes. I mean, the data is very populous out there. There is no evidence that carnivore diets are healthy at all, but all the evidence we have shows that vegan diets are very healthy.
How did you how long have you been like vegan and or vegetarian
6 years.
What like started to like pique your interest on it?
I learned about factory farming. I was learning about health and diet, and I stumbled upon a video on factory farming, and that I saw a poor cow being hung up on the rail, upside down, with its legs kicking as it was being slaughtered. And after that night, I went vegan, and since then I've been vegan.
Wow, that's awesome. Was it difficult, or would you say it came naturally to you?
Easy.
Do you have I guess, do you have any tips for people that are like used to eating meat?
Learn. There's nothing I can say to you that's gonna turn you vegan, but what I can tell you is learn about factory farming, learn about the animals, learn about diet, learn about nutrition, learn about the food system, learn about the FDA, learn, educate yourself. Knowledge is what changes people, always.
Sure.
So yeah, that's all I can tell you.
Okay, cool. Thanks for your time, man.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, speaker's kind of messed up today. How you doing today?
Good.
All right. So, I assume you drive a vehicle.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. To non-essential things besides work, correct?
Yeah. What's your point there, sir?
The point is that you are, I mean, it sounds silly, but you are killing multiple animals by driving your vehicle, hitting your windshields, multiple sentient beings, and you're doing that. You're killing them.
What do you think veganism means?
Veganism, do less harm, right?
No.
Isn't that
No.
No?
It means to be practical, to do what is practicable in reducing harm and suffering and exploitation.
Exactly. And that means that requires you not to be driving a vehicle.
No, it does not,
because that's practical.
it would not be practical for me to not drive a car. I have to drive.
Well, obviously, it would be practical for you to drive your vehicle to your job to make money, but it's not practical for you to drive to your friend's house to watch a Disney movie.
I need a car to get to work, sir. If I don't
exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying you can drive to your work; it's essential. However, driving to your friend's house to have a good time isn't essential. Therefore, you are killing animals on the way to your friend's house for no apparent reason.
So what
makes sense?
So you're concluding that vegans have to have no friends?
My conclusion is that you are doing more harm.
Sir, stop. This is ridiculous. I knew when to come up here and try to do this, but it's not going to work. Veganism does not mean we get rid of our friends, we stop going to the store or the bar. That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous, bro. It's not stop.
It is impractical.
All right.
For me. Go away. It is impossible to tell people that, yeah, stop driving a car, stop having friends. That's ridiculous. It's about being practical, but also recognizing our intentions. That's all. And the fact that you're sitting up here saying that, oh, you should stop driving a car, you should stop having friends to save a bug. Meanwhile, you're sitting there slaughtering pigs, chickens, stuffing them in gas chambers, and killing them for no reason at all. Intentionally doing that. That's not what veganism means. Veganism does not mean we get rid of our cars, we get rid of our clothing because it might kill an animal. That's not what it means. It means we do what's best. He didn't own anybody. You guys are only jumping on top and dogpiling because you think that this is a good argument, but it's stupid. This is a straw man of veganism. This is why I say go learn what it means to be vegan. It doesn't mean we get rid of our cars. It doesn't mean we get rid of our bikes. It doesn't mean we get rid of everything we have because it might harm an animal. It means we do what's practical to maintain our society, but do what we can to minimize cruelty. But nice try.
Hello?
Hey,
Oh.
what do
How are you?
you good?
Which one of those topics would you like to speak on?
What's your question?
Do you think there's a beneficial way to integrate animals into society besides, like if they weren't slaughtered, besides like the zoo?
No, animals should not. We should not be exploiting animals at all. We should not be harming them at all.
I'm saying if they weren't being harmed, is there a beneficial way people could like
No, animals are not
institutions?
objects. Animals are not objects. Okay, they should be living their own lives. That's it.
So they shouldn't be seen unless they're in nature?
I never said that. What I'm saying is we should not be viewing animals as if they're our property or that we get to manipulate them or breed them into existence for some purpose that we need them for. Rescuing animals is perfectly great. I love rescuing animals. Perhaps sanctuaries, having animal sanctuaries where if animals are suffering, you bring them there, you rehabilitate them, you help them. That's fantastic. That is the relationship we should be having with animals. A friendly one, a kind one, a caring one, not one where we stuff them in factories.
Do you think they should be in more schools?
Schools?
Like public places we can bring the animals to observe them?
No, we're not. Why would you want to bring a cow or a pig or a dog into a school?
Because they have life in them and they're good to witness.
No, that's ridiculous. Let them be out in where they want to be.
Okay. You're an atheist, or?
Yeah.
Do you support what Kanye's saying about him being God?
Okay. Have a good day.
Yo.
Hey, what do you got?
Can I ask why are you atheist?
I don't see any evidence for God.
So you think that the whole universe was created by chance?
Maybe. Why not?
What do you believe? How do you think that the universe has come to be?
Maybe it didn't come to be. Maybe it always was.
Do you believe in science?
Science is not a belief; it's a method. But yes, it's valuable and has lots of utility.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so do you believe that what science says is to be true, like the evidence of certain things, such as say the Big Bang, how the universe started?
No, science doesn't know about how the universe started. We don't know anything about that. But we have ideas. Now, do you have any actual questions?
No, I can't lie. I just wanted to know why you're atheist, though.
There's no evidence of God. Do you have any?
I mean, the pattern of the world, like everything, to the complexity of the whole universe, to me seems like there's a conscious mind, and
It seems like it to you. That's the key word. It seems. Why?
no,
Why
not
does it
necessarily
seem
seems.
like-
I use the word seems because obviously you're not a believer. I believe truly that that's evidence of there being
But
God.
when
I'm
you
not saying specifically any type of like I'm not putting a religion onto it or a Christian God or
Islam God or whatever. I'm just saying that there is a creator of the universe
Look,
based on the.
when you invoke the word evidence, what you're saying is there is lots of data that weighs in favor of this proposition. That's evidence. And when you're going to say, oh, the patterns, the complexity means God exists, that's evidence of God. Well, what about these patterns weighs us more in favor of God existing when these patterns can be just as easily explained naturally?
I don't think that they can be explained naturally. I don't think our human mind is capable. Like, obviously, if there is a, there is a God. There is a God. I believe there's a God.
Look,
And that God,
when you make a claim that is bold like that naturalism can't explain patterns, why not? You're saying it's impossible. Why is it impossible for us to explain these patterns naturally?
because we are not God. We haven't. We didn't create. We didn't create these patterns.
No. Why is it impossible for these patterns to be natural? Why do they have to come from God?
Because of the complexity. Oh, even then,
that's question begging, right? You can't just repeat yourself and act like you did something, right? Complexity can be also explained naturally. You don't need God for any explanatory power here.
Can you explain it?
Yeah. The order, the complexity is explained through evolution, through gravity, through the nuclear force, weak force, laws of physics. They explain everything we see.
Yeah, but even laws of physics, that's science, which you said yourself, it's not really, you can't prove it. You know what I'm saying? So
we don't need proof. We don't need proof of anything. We just want good reasons to believe. And so far, there's no good reason to believe in a God.
But there's a good reason to not believe it. I think we just agree to disagree on that then, really.
Look, if you're going to say that there's a reason, give it. All you're saying to me is patterns, therefore God. That's a non sequitur, right? You're not giving the structure in between. You're just saying patterns, therefore God. That's a non sequitur.
Not necessarily. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to convince you to come to any.
Okay. So what's your question? What's your next question before I kick in?
Nah, that was mainly it. I just wanted to know why someone doesn't believe it.
Yes, Stephen Haunted World is a great book. Yes, I love it.
Yo, what's up?
Hi.
So you said that you don't have any reason to believe there's a God?
Yeah, there's no reason at all.
So what about the origin of the universe?
Who said there is an origin, right?
So you believe the universe is eternal?
It's possible.
Well, it's not possible. The very scientists you refer to with this evolution and everything all agree that the universe had a beginning. And
No,
then
that's not true at all. Well, let's say you're right. Let's say, hold on. I do not have to grant you that the universe began. That's nonsense. But let's say you're right. Let's just grant it for the sake of discussion. The universe began. Why must it be God and not something natural?
Something natural like what?
A quantum field.
What is that?
Ah, there you go. You don't know what a quantum field is.
I want you to explain to me what it is.
You don't know the natural possibilities that are out there, right? Quantum fields are embodiments of certain energy states in a given volume of space. And these fluctuations can give rise to inflaton fields, which can give rise to an inflationary universe. That's a mechanism for a universe's origin. You don't need God for that, right? So there's room within quantum mechanics for us to explain the universe's origin.
Is there any proof of that?
Quantum mechanics is quantum field theory, inflationary cosmology.
Yeah, but is there any proof?
Yes, mathematical proof. Yes, evidentiary proof. There's lots of evidence behind these
Well,
ideas.
that's philosophy.
No, it's not a philosophy. It's science. These are scientific theories.
But just backtrack really quickly. You said that you could grant me. You don't have to grant me that the universe
Yeah, I don't even have to grant
had
you
a
that. You can
beginning.
just reject that the universe began and say it's eternal. You don't need God for that either.
But I'm saying the universe isn't eternal.
Prove it.
Okay, well, the second law of thermodynamics, the fact that the universe is expanding, if the universe was eternal, it would have infinitely expanded by now.
No, false.
Yeah. Yes.
The universe.
If we were living in a infinitely expanded universe, we wouldn't be here to exist.
No, the universe can expand and contract. Expand again and contract again.
As it did that.
It's possible.
No, but see, that's
There's
again, you can't just.
There's also another possibility of a multiverse where we're not the only universe. There are many others, many other Big Bangs, expansions. So you don't need God for any of these things.
So it sounds like your faith is in possibility. You're like, well, because all these things are possible.
Now you're being
just gonna say that there is
dishonest.
no
Now
God.
you're being dishonest because you're rejecting that these are real possibilities.
No, personally, as a Christian, right?
No,
I don't do that with 100% certainty stuff.
Listen. That's not what I'm saying. You are rejecting all these other possibilities out of your own bias. That's the problem here. You're saying, nope, the universe can't be eternal. Nope, not giving any reasons why.
Well, I just gave you 2.
Well, I refuted them, and you didn't counter.
No, you didn't refute them. Like these are. I'm giving you some science.
So then go ahead.
That science
So then go ahead and debunk cyclical conformal cosmology.
I'm not too sure what that is.
Exactly. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, I do know what I'm talking about.
These things are impossible, right? So, if you're going to claim that cyclical cosmology is impossible, go ahead and demonstrate that. Demonstrate that a multiverse is impossible. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say that it was impossible. I said there's no evidence for it.
What you're saying is that they are possible. So then, God.
No, but I'm not saying that they're not possible. Anything is possible. I'm saying there's no evidence for it. Is what I'm saying.
But they're still possible, and there's definitely no evidence of God either.
There is evidence of God.
Where?
It's just not evidence that you would deem as evidence.
What is the evidence of your God?
Life.
How is life evidence of God when we can also explain life naturally?
How can life be explained naturally?
It's just a chemical process.
Oh, just a chemical accident?
Biology.
Biology.
See, now you're going to say it's an accident, but accidents imply you're smuggling in this notion that there is some intention that went wrong. That's not what we're saying. That's a straw man.
Well, it is an accident.
Perhaps there's a
what was the purpose?
Or a physical necessity for these things to arise. You're assuming that it's impossible for life to come naturally. Why?
I'm not saying it's impossible. It's not likely.
Great.
It's not more reasonable.
Why is it more likely that God made us from clay versus us coming from evolution, which is a fact?
Because you don't get logic from non-logic. The fact that we're logical creatures proves that there's a logical creature that created us.
No, it doesn't.
It literally does.
Non sequitur, right? Another non sequitur. Logic is explained naturally as well through, brain processes. Logic is explained through a brain process. You don't need God for that.
Yeah, you do. You need lawgivers for laws.
No, we are
so
the
did humans create logic?
We are the lawgivers.
Really? So humans created logic.
No, logic is a language that our brains perform in order to describe reality. So logic is descriptive, not prescriptive.
So we didn't create logic, so who did? It just existed?
Logic is just a process that the mind does. We didn't create it. We didn't invent it either. It's just what we do as thinking beings. Now, what explains logic itself is this biological process that happens in the brain. You don't need God for that. Again, so we can explain logic. We can explain these descriptive facts of nature through minds, which come about naturally. You don't need God for anything.
Fantastic. So why don't, let's say, animals like lions have the same logic we do?
Well, we have obviously more complex brain power, more complex brain chemistry,
Why?
because this is how we evolved.
But we evolved from the same thing, right?
No,
So we did. So
we
wait.
share lineage,
So
but we evolved differently millions of years ago.
no, I'm
We've
saying so
merged.
like from the origin, right? Did animals and humans, because apparently we're all animals, but let's just make the distinction, evolve from the same thing?
No, again, there's a vast cascade of processes.
So what did they evolve from? What did we evolve from then?
We are apes. We didn't evolve from something. This isn't
So
Power
we
Rangers.
evolved from apes.
No, we are apes right
That's
now.
my question though. What did we evolve from, and then what did they
Look,
evolve from?
when you say what did we evolve from, that doesn't make sense. We share ancestry
Really?
with other
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make
species.
sense, but this is y'all's philosophy.
No. Look, sir, you fucking believe that we come from talking snakes and shit, and that God made us from clay in 6 days. You
I
believe
don't know
in
where snakes
nonsense.
came from, but
We believe the evidence demonstrates that evolution happens. We know we
yeah.
evolved from a common ancestor millions of years ago. And this ancestor has since diverged into different species, humans being one species. Now,
So
other
my
animals have
question
logic.
is, what was that? What was that one thing you're
All
talking
other
about?
animals, hold on. All other animals have the precursors to logic. In fact, many other animals are logical. Dolphins, whales, crows, birds, dogs, cows,
Everything,
mammals.
all the
They're very
so
logical animals. They
I don't
are
want to.
very
I don't
logical.
want to. I want to stay on this topic because you're not about to go somewhere else. Number one, they use the laws of logic in a survival sense. They don't use the same law. We can't. A dog cannot explain math to you. We do not use the same laws of logic. They
Right, but
use
they have the
survival.
precursors to those things. And by the way, they actually can perform mathematics in a way.
Really?
Yes, crows can understand how to count. They can understand how things work like that.
How do you know?
They understand logic to some degree. We have performed experiments on crows where they can learn things mathematically.
Interesting.
Other apes can understand numbers and sign language.
Can lions?
I don't know about lions, but what's your point?
Yeah, it's just interesting how you believe in evolution, but how we're everybody so different. But I didn't even want to go there. I wanted to stay on
every
the I wanted to
species
stay
undergoes
on
different.
I
Every
wanted to stay on the
species
origin.
undergoes different pressures.
I want to stay on the origin of life. You said
Okay.
that we evolved from a common ancestor. Where did that common ancestor evolve from?
Well, the first living organism was a protocell, or is a cell that emerged from the oceans about 4 billion years ago. We know that life itself is a process, and certain amino acids, which are non-living things, in an abiogenesis process, can yield living things. Amino acids come together.
Oh,
They form
where did you get that
peptides.
information from?
These peptides can form polypeptides. They form sheets of things called amyloids. These amyloids can grow bigger and bigger. They can chemically evolve such that they would produce their own reactants to grow larger. They split in half. They can actually duplicate in a way. They can metabolize in a way. We also know that RNA comes from nucleotides, which also form in the oceans through amino acids. Specific configurations of these building blocks for life can yield living organisms. It's chemical evolution. It's just
So point to one thing that's happened.
What?
Point to one thing that what you're describing has happened to.
Oh yeah, no, we have observed the polymerization of RNA in labs. We can take RNA
No,
molecules.
I'm talking about as far as like the non-life producing
what I'm
life.
talking about. This is what I'm talking about. We can see the polymerization of RNA with basic nucleotides. They form RNA when we introduce them to clay phosphates, and there's many experiments on this. We also have done experiments on protocells. We can take lipid bilayers and see them form naturally in the oceans. We can also take a look at amyloids. We can produce amyloids in labs as well. We have produced all the essentials of abiogenesis. Now, we don't have the full puzzle completed, but we have a large amount of it completed, and none
What do
of
you
it
mean by full
requires God.
puzzle? What do you mean by full puzzle? Like, what do you mean you don't have it fully completed?
The full, complete process as to how life emerged. But we have a good enough evidence to suggest it's not magic, it's just chemistry.
Wait, so the answer is I don't know.
No, the answer is here's a ton of fucking evidence, and this is what is likely the answer. We don't just say, I don't know, therefore God. That's what you're doing.
No, it's not. I don't know. Therefore, God. But
Okay, great. So then demonstrate to me that God made life and it wasn't chemistry.
I can't look. So when it comes to God and religion, you just not a. It's not a scientific thing.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually know that God made us. You just pretend he did.
No. There's a lot of things you can point to that would provide evidence for the existence of God. But when it comes to like certain things like science, that's not something you look for God for
So how do you know that God exists?
because of the evidence surrounding us.
Where?
You, me, the fine tuning of the universe,
Again, this is another non
gravity.
sequitur you're using, right? All you're doing is saying, look around, the trees, the bees, therefore God. That's
Well, no,
nonsense.
I mean
That's
it gets
not
deeper than
logical.
that. I just said the fine tuning of the universe. It's not more
Sure, but
probable.
fine tuning.
You seem like a pretty smart dude. There's
What's
no way you think that that's actually more likely that this all happened by accident as opposed to there being an intelligent mind behind it.
no? That's your straw man. I never said it was accident. And how did God
So
come
the Big
about by
Bang is not an
accident?
accident. So wait, it was intentional then, right?
No, it's determined.
So was
It's
it
likely. It's possibly
determined by
determined.
who? Determined by who?
Nobody determines it. It's determined by nature itself. It's a natural necessity. They're called
It's
brute facts.
determined by nature. So how does something get determined?
Yeah. So
Can
who
something that
determined?
doesn't exist
So
determine something?
so who determined God to exist?
Nobody.
Exactly. He just does, right?
But he's eternal though.
Great.
Scientists even agree that the universe is not eternal.
So can the universe be eternal and
It's
necessary?
not though. I'm telling you, it's not.
Prove
Like
it.
I
Prove
mean,
it.
I don't know what
Prove it.
research
Look,
you've
look, look,
done
look, look,
that the
Josh,
scientists
Josh,
contradict the ones
Josh,
I've researched.
Josh. All you're doing here is saying the universe can't be eternal, therefore God. Well, it can be eternal, and you have not shown us why it can't be.
Do you know what entropy is?
Yes,
What is it?
the measurement of disorder.
That's not all it is. It's also the concept of the universe running down, which means if the universe was eternal, it would have been run down by now.
Now, you're talking about usable energy, and
Mm-hmm.
that has no bearing on the universe being infinite. I mean, if
It
the
literally
universe
does. The
continued
universe
to
is running
expand
down.
and usable, hold on. If the universe continued to expand and usable energy runs out, it's possible that a quantum fluctuation can get us back into a lower level of entropy over time. So it's possible that there's a maximum level of entropy, and after it
That's
reaches that maximum,
that's
it goes
philosophy,
back
though.
down, and it goes back to another Big Bang in a cyclical manner. This
Yeah,
is
that's
why
philosophy.
this is what I was talking about before that you couldn't refute.
No, but
So
that's
go ahead and
philosophy. You don't have any evidence to back that up. That's
we
literally a
don't
philosophy.
need scientific evidence. We have logic. We can use logic to show you that it's
So okay, so
possible.
let's use logic. What's
And
more likely? If the universe
you're
okay,
discounting these things because of your bias.
right. So let's use logic for a quick second. What's more likely? The fact that the universe is expanding and running down and it's going to be run down in a certain period of time, or it's going to run down and then wind back up and explode again. Which one's more likely?
Both are equally likely. We don't know. It's a problem.
More equally likely.
That's
Interesting.
the problem. We don't know.
Okay. I think you're being intellectually dishonest with that.
Whether or not each one exists has no bearing on whether or not God exists. The universe could be eternal or finite, yet God not exist.
Well, no. So the thing is, if it's not eternal, then you have to pose the question, what caused it to exist?
A quantum field, which is not God.
So let's say this. If there's no space, where would the quantum field be?
There would be a fundamental space-time, or it would be emergent from these quantum fields. So you can have either or. Again,
Yeah, but don't those things, so if there's nothing, this is what, so if there's nothing there, if space itself is not there, how would that even exist?
it will be there. It's eternal, right?
Where would it be?
It'll all be eternal.
Where would it be?
Eternal. It would be existing always, forever.
But where? There's no space.
What are you talking about? No space for what?
I'm saying there's no space. Like, you know what space is, right?
There
Like
is. There will be
space, like
space.
the outer space.
Space-time itself could be fundamental and eternal.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you have matter with no space, where would the matter be?
You couldn't have matter without space, right? That's why
Exactly. So
space
how
and
can you
time.
have these
That's why
things you're
space.
talking about without space?
That's why space and time would be eternal.
No, time cannot be time cannot be eternal if the universe is not eternal.
Why can't
All,
Why can't
all,
time be eternal?
all of these things came into existence at the same time because, like I said,
That's not
if you have
presupposition.
space,
Prove
if you
it.
have
Prove it.
matter with no
Prove it.
space,
Prove
you have
it.
nowhere to
Prove
put the
it.
matter
Prove it.
at.
Prove it. Prove it. You're not saying. You're just saying it's not eternal.
Right.
Prove
Okay. So
Prove
if you have matter, right, with no space, where would you put the matter at?
it. You're not answering my question. You're saying that time can't be eternal. Why not?
If something has a beginning, what is that?
You're question begging. That's question begging, sir. Why can't the universe be eternal?
I've already explained it. If we were
But you
to
did it
run with the
wrongly because you
logic,
could not refute what I just told you.
if we were to run with the logic that the universe was eternal, we would come to the conclusion that by now the universe would have been infinitely expanded, which
No.
means there would
The
be no life.
universe, again, the universe can collapse again and expand again forever, or there could be many different universes where
Yeah,
we're
but
just one in many.
you're using the can, like you keep saying
Yes,
it
that's all
can.
sir. That's all we can do. Look.
The thing
Don't you
is, that's not
understand?
more
Look,
reasonable.
Josh. Look, this is so frustrating because you're so focused on God being real. So you want God to be real so badly that you're discounting the possibilities. It's possible that the universe is
Yeah,
eternal.
it's
It's
not
possible that there's
about.
a multiverse. These are all grand possibilities that you're discounting because you just want God to be real. Don't you see? It's
Got you.
possible.
It's not about
These
only
other
what's.
alternatives exist, and nobody knows for sure, but they are possibilities that you're taking away for no reason.
All right,
Why?
got you. So I'll put it like this. I'm not sure what other theists you've talked to, but personally, I don't think with 100% certainty that God exists.
So then
I
stop
acknowledge.
saying that you know
I
he
acknowledge.
exists. So then
I
stop saying
acknowledge.
that you know he exists such that these other possibilities cannot be possible.
Yeah, so I acknowledge that those are possibilities. My conclusion is what's reasonable. It's not reasonable that the universe would wind back up and explode again.
Why not? Why not?
That's not just not. It's not reasonable.
That's not an argument, right?
No,
You're
I'm
just saying
saying
no,
if the
no. You're just saying
universe,
no. That's
no,
not a good reason.
if the universe is running down, it's going to be more reasonable that it's going to run down than wind back up and go out again.
Why is it not reasonable that might happen?
Because it's not more likely.
Why not?
Why is it not more likely? So if you just use the trajectory that it's on, it's going to end up going out. That's just logic for you.
That does not tell us about how the future will end. We don't know.
Yeah, I know. Ultimately, you don't know, but that's why I keep saying
great.
what's
Neither do
more
you.
reasonable.
So stop pretending as if it's impossible.
Great, but I'm saying what's
less
more
likely.
reasonable. It's about what's reasonable, not what's.
Why is it less reasonable for CCC to be true?
What is CCC again? I don't know what that means.
Conformal cyclic cosmology.
I've never done research on that personally.
Then go do your research, because that's why you're slacking in this debate.
But that doesn't disprove anything I just said.
You just don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Yeah, great, but that doesn't disprove anything I just said.
I
What's
never
more
said
reasonable?
it disproves you. What I'm saying is you are claiming something that is not true.
Well, you are too then.
And you're making
like we're doing the same thing.
What am I claiming that's not true?
That God doesn't exist.
I never said it doesn't exist.
Yes, you did. That's literally your stance.
What I'm saying is that certain gods can't exist, but God in general is unlikely to me. Because
you never said certain gods. Maybe I wasn't on a lie.
There's no evidence of God.
Yeah, but so what evidence do you need?
Any.
Well, see, that's no. I can tell by this conversation the evidence you need is 100% certainty. You need God to stand in front of you.
You don't know what evidence, Josh. You don't know what evidence is. That's why you're struggling here. You don't even know what evidence means. You think it's whatever I feel is less likely. That means it's good reason.
Do you think evidence is subjective?
No, evidence demonstrates something. Evidence points us or indicates to a specific conclusion.
So you don't think it's up to interpretation at all?
No, I think evidence is either it demonstrates this or this more.
It's definitely subjective, bro.
Well, no, it's not. Evidence gets us to either one or another conclusion. And if it can't do it, then it's not evidence.
No, I think you're talking about.
Cannot weigh in favor of something or over another. It's not evidence.
I think you're talking about more so proof. Evidence is where you just have
No,
it's just
no.
evidence, bro.
What is the evidence of God? And you're going to say the universe can't be eternal when it can be.
No,
And you're saying it's unlikely for the universe to be eternal. And now I'm going to say why? And you're going to say it's more unlikely. And I'm going to say why? You're going to say because it is. That's not a good reason. That's not evidence. See?
But I mean, that wouldn't be personally my only evidence. When I look at when I
Great.
think
So
of
then
when I
what
think
is
of
your
the existence
actual
of God,
so then what
it's
is
a
your
totality
so
thing.
then what is your actual evidence of your magic God?
The evidence that I would need to be convinced is not necessarily the evidence that you or anybody on this live would need. So that's why I say evidence is subjective.
No, look, you have not brought up any evidence of God today.
I brought
All
up
you've
plenty
said
evidence.
is,
It's just
look,
not evidence that convinces you.
no, that's not how evidence works. It doesn't just
Yeah, it
convince
is.
me, right? Evidence is for everybody.
It's
And
subjective though.
it's not subjective. What's subjective is your opinion on the evidence, but the evidence itself is not subjective. What you're doing is you're going, it's unlikely to me because I'm biased and I want God to be real badly. I can't make sense of any other possibility. That's what you're doing here, right? That's your problem, not my problem. The evidence is not in your favor, sir. It's just not.
It is. You just don't agree on the evidence. That's literally all it is.
No, it's not. Stop being dishonest.
No, you're being dishonest.
How the fuck am I going to be dishonest when you're the one sitting here saying, nuh-uh, it can't be those things. It must be God.
No, I didn't say it can't be. I said it's not likely.
Why not?
Because that's based on you. Like if you just use logic, like I say, with the universe being eternal thing, it's not more likely
No, you're
that the
just
universe is going to
you're
wind
just
back up.
yapping, sir. Where's the data that demonstrates it's unlikely for CCC to be true?
I can ask you the exact same question.
No, you made a claim that it's not likely. Demonstrate that claim.
That was not likely. You're talking about CCC? I'm not fully sure what that even is. So you using that as
So then why the fuck are you going to be dishonest with me and say that it's unlikely?
We have two options. I mean, I don't know why this is so hard for you to
You
understand.
don't have two options, sir.
Yeah,
There's
literally two
1,000 more
options.
other options.
Either
There's
the universe
1,000
is going to
more
run
options.
down or it's going to do what you're talking.
There's 1,000 more other options, sir, and you're being very disingenuous by saying it must be God and these things are unlikely. When you don't understand them, I'm doing you a favor by being nice. So either give evidence or go away and stop being dishonest here, please.
When you bring up the realm of possibilities, you do know that neither one of us can really be right.
Yeah, so then stop saying that it's unlikely.
Great. So as long, okay, we can agree there. Neither one of us are right. Fantastic.
No, that's not the point of contention in this debate here, sir. You're saying that God is more likely. You have yet to demonstrate that.
Well, that wasn't my stance that God is more likely. And the specific thing we were talking about.
So you don't think God is more likely than no God?
Yeah, I do. I do think it, but I never said that though.
Okay, great. So then what's your evidence that favors God?
We're not going to get anywhere. We're talking about evidence because you don't agree that what the evidence I would present is evidence.
It's not that I don't agree with your evidence. It's that your evidence isn't evidence.
That's to you though. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because your only reason why it's evidence is I don't agree with CCC. That's your only reason. That's why it's not evidence. Evidence requires data. And you're making an empirical claim about CCC, which requires empirical data, which you have zero for. That's the problem.
That's crazy. I guess, bro. I don't think we're going to get anywhere, but it's nice talking to you though, bro.
See, this is what happens every time. The Christian comes up here thinking they have an argument because look, universe can't be eternal, right? They're coming in with their own preconceived notions of what they expect the world to be. Once they get countered by any means, they get defensive. Oh no, you just don't like the evidence. No, it's that you're not understanding the counter evidence. You're not understanding what evidence is, and that's the problem. If you would just let go of these biases, right? If you would just let go of the bias that God is real, God can only be the best option because the world doesn't make sense to me if it's natural. That really seemed to be the crux of what he was saying, which is what most Christians say. I don't know. How can this be natural? How can our bodies come about naturally? You think this is an accident? It's a very intuitive thing to say, but we've since learned about life. And the more we learn about science, the less God becomes required, the less God becomes needed. The gaps in our knowledge continuously decline. God becomes this ever receding pocket of ignorance. Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry about that. I do believe what you say is that even with the gaps of acknowledgement and things like that, I mean, there is nothing wrong to have faith in something that doesn't exist, which is, to be fair. You can have faith in something and
Okay. Are you driving, sir? Are you driving?
No.
Okay. What's your question?
My question is, what was it? What is your theory of existence?
I don't have a theory of existence. I just exist.
Okay, yeah, take out religion. That's a whole other can of biscuits that I'm not even getting into.
I don't have a theory of existence, sir. I just look around me and look for evidence, and whatever the evidence leads me, I go. I don't have a theory of everything. I don't have one. I'm a skeptic. I'm secular, right? I look for evidence. I don't look for my beliefs.
All right. Well, I didn't say anything about beliefs or anything like that. There is evidence showing that we evolved, which is, I get that. That's
Okay, great. So what's your question?
what I asked you your question.
Okay.
Hey, Mike. Question. Why do you believe that no animal should be killed?
I don't believe that. I believe that we should do what we can to reduce animal death and suffering and exploitation.
Reduce it, like gradually. I've heard you talk before about how obviously it can't happen right away, but you believe in gradually doing it.
No, I believe that everybody should reduce their suffering that they cause to others.
To animals.
Yes, with our others. Yes.
All right. Well, I don't understand how you're not fighting for them equally. I feel like I see videos of bugs or sardines and things like that, and I'm like, I wonder what Mike thinks of it. Mike thinks of this. I mean, he's defending these cows and how, I mean, we're all animals, you say, but I just don't think that everything's on the same level. No animal has the same pain receptors.
I agree, but we have decisions in our world. We make decisions. And my decisions, there's a certain parameter that I look at ethically to decide how I treat somebody. And when I look at people, I treat them a certain way. I don't want to harm them for the same exact reasons I don't want to harm an animal if I don't have to. It's not that I value animals as humans in every way. It's that I value them enough, sufficiently, to not want to harm them if I don't have to, just like every person. So that's the point. I treat animals like people, just like that, morally, because we don't have to harm them.
Okay, I agree. I just don't like when people are really crying about how, oh, you're hurting these animals and things like that, when they're just not on the same level, or I guess, all right, that was my question. Appreciate it, Mike.
Okay, you guys, you can't hear me? Half you guys are saying yes. Some of you guys saying no. Stop trolling, guys. I don't have time for trolling.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
So I have a question. I'm a believer in God, a creator to the universe, and yeah, can you disprove a deistic God?
Yeah, we're not going to sit here and do this garbage.
Why
Nobody
not?
says they can disprove God. That's like saying, can you disprove God?
Okay, so if I look, whatever theory or hypothesis you go with, yeah, in science, for example, if you go with singularity theorem, or you go with the CCC, eternal cyclic model, quantum tunneling, the BGV, whichever Lipschitz gravity, whichever you go, why do you always have to apply attributes of God, features of God to that theory or hypothesis?
God is a word. It means nothing. God is
Yes.
just a random word. So you
Very,
have,
very. Yeah.
So what is your question today, sir?
So my question is this then. If I call that God, call that God, then what's the problem? Why do atheists come here and say, well,
Okay.
God doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, I can call my lefty Ashton job. Congratulations. That doesn't do anything for you, though, right? I want to get somewhere novel. I want to get somewhere new that I've never seen before. Something supernatural, not something I know already exists. So just relabeling God quantum tunneling doesn't do anything for me, right? That's a monkey can do that.
No, but that's not what I said. I said that you have to apply attributes of God. I can give you several attributes, like for example, the no beginning, no end, or the all powerful.
That's just your definition of God. I think there's no such thing as all powerful. Oh my gosh, the speakers are annoying. I'm sorry, guys. Guys, God is an ambiguous word. It means nothing until you give it meaning, until you give it definition. But most definitions of God are something supernatural, something personal. That is not evident to me.
Hello? Hi? Can you hear me?
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay. What's your question?
So I've been wondering about veganism. So would you say that it's particularly for animal welfare? Is this like a point why you are vegan? Does it make sense? Sorry, I'm not native.
Yeah, I don't want to harm an animal.
Okay, cool. Because like my boyfriend lives on a farm and he does farming and stuff, and we do ethical farming, which is actually pretty good and treats animals pretty good. And so whatever, and vegans say you should not buy meat at all, which does hurt us or ethical farmers who try to make life for animals really good and quality life.
Yeah, the problem is
harmful.
The problem is that no matter how you treat somebody, the end goal. If your end goal is torturous, if your end goal is to kill them, you're not really treating them nicely in totality. The way I see treating somebody nicely is getting out of their way, letting them be, not having not intending to use them for any of your advantages. That to me is not what you're doing. So you might treat them nicely, but you're still killing them. You're still treating them like exploitation devices that you get to take their body parts from them. That to me is still wrong. It's not ethical to me at all, because you would never do that to a person, would you?
No, I wouldn't. But
exactly.
Like the thing is that you are right. We do slaughter animals, and it is a give and take. So I'm not a part of this farm. It's a separate thing. But like it does happen, and the thing is that these animals will die eventually, and they will die if we do not slaughter them of natural causes which are very, very painful. For example, starvation, their teeth will decay so much that they will starve, and we cannot really do much about it. We can try to make like
But look
dental
who's
changes.
causing
Can I
this
please
problem
finish?
in the first.
Can I please finish? Like things
No.
like this happen, and it's a problem, and so we try to prevent this unnecessary harm by slaughtering. We are an ethical farm, so it's not the mass
No, you're
production
not.
I'm talking about. I'm talking
You're not an
about
ethical farm. No, you're not. Because
how. Okay,
because those animals did not have to exist in the first place, such that they would be in that situation.
so you would say they don't have to
So,
exist and the right to a beautiful
yeah.
life just because you don't
It's not a
want to
beautiful
eat
life.
meat.
It's not a beautiful life when they are treated like objects that you get to kill, and that they're being exploited on these farms by you and sold to be meat. And this process, by the way, is not sustainable on a global scale. There's 8 billion people on the planet. There is no way we can do this on a global scale such that we can feed people and that all the animals will be perfectly fine. No. Factory farming is a necessity because of the demand that we're placing on the world around us. And you're still, at the end of the day, killing those cows, slaughtering them. You're still contributing to the process of environmental destruction, of bringing these animals into existence. They don't have to be bred into existence at all.
But they live a quality life, and I understand the argument.
It's not a quality life, though.
Why? It's better than nature. They will not die of starvation.
When you take into account the rest of the world around you, right? There's an intention that you're placing upon these animals. You're intending to take their lives away. You're intending to do this such that you would have to breed animals into existence to make this happen. That, to me, inherently is wrong. That's the point. That you can treat these animals fine and nice, but you're still intending to cause this destruction on a global scale. Whereas what I'm doing is skipping all that nonsense and saying, hey, let's just eat the damn plants, right? And if everybody did what I did, there'd be no animal suffering. But if everybody did what you did, we'd be back in the same position as we are today with factory farming. You're not actually solving anything by saying, oh, look, I have an ethical farm because I treat my cows nicely. How about the world around you that's contributing to the things you're doing? And you are partaking in this as well. You are also partaking in animal agriculture, which is destroying the animals and the environment as well. So there are many implications for this. It's not just, oh, look what I'm doing on my farm. That means it's good for everybody to do it. No, I think that's the wrong thinking.
Well, I agree that mass production is a problem, but I would say that it's not a problem of eating meat. I would say it's a problem of buying the wrong product. Because people look at steaks that cost $10 and they will buy $10 steak instead of buying like $150 steak, which come from ethical farming. This would actually also reduce animal cruelty and people buying from these mass production farms.
If you want to reduce animal cruelty, go vegan. That's the only way to do it.
No, because you want animals to have quality lives, and quality life is not nature itself.
Man, okay. If I had children, and I had them in my backyard just as you do. I have them on my farm, I treat them nicely for about 5-6 years, and then I kill them. Was that quality? Is that a quality way of treating my children?
No, and I think it's not comparable
Okay,
out
great.
of the reason.
So then why do you think that's bad? Why do you think this is bad for humans but okay for animals?
It has nothing to do with humans and animals, because the reason I don't agree with this is because we do slaughter them to not cause unnecessary harm of them dying from natural causes.
Yeah,
they will die from disease. When we do not slaughter them, they will die from disease, and this is painful.
No, they won't not.
I've seen it. It's
but
painful.
They didn't have to die. Anna, please.
Sorry.
They didn't have to die in the first place. That's the problem. That would be like me taking children in my farm, in my backyard, and saying, oh, look, I treat them nicely. I give them candy. I give them food. But then I kill them at 7 years old. That's wrong. So
but
if you
try to prevent...
Hold on.
Sorry.
If you wouldn't treat people like this, why do you treat animals like that?
Like, I would not compare it because I I do have the intention to slaughter it, but I don't slaughter it. That's not why I have it. I do slaughter it because I don't want it to have unnecessary harm, because it will.
The same
if it
with my
dies from
children. The
natural
same
causes.
with my children.
What is
The
your
same with
argument
my
against
children.
it?
Anna, please. You're not listening to what I just told you. When I kill my children, I'm also reducing unnecessary harm too by taking their lives short. Right? They had a quality life, and then I killed them at 7 years old. Now they can never be bad. Now nothing bad can ever happen again. But that's not right. You're cutting their lives short, and you're bringing them into existence when they didn't have to be. Imagine if we took a group of people and started breeding them into existence, give them quality lives, and then kill them. That's what you're doing to the animals. That's why it's wrong. You're treating animals like objects, and you don't even really notice, right? Because you would never treat somebody like this. If we did this to people, you would say that that's terrible. That's slavery. But you're doing it to the animals with no thought. Why? What's the difference? To me, there is none.
So in this analogy, if I have this child, and let's say this child is sick and it has a disease, and I cannot really communicate with this child, it would be actually humane to like not let it suffer the rest of its life and to actually put it. That's what I'm saying. Animals will die of
No, ma'am. I don't support
these
killing
animals
children.
will die of natural
Anna,
causes.
no, I'm
That's a
sorry.
fact.
I'm sorry.
How do you
ma'am.
think they will
I'm
die?
sorry. I'm sorry, Anna. That's ridiculous. If a child is sick, we give it care. We don't take its life away. That's ridiculous. This is disgusting. See, this is the problem, right? It turns out you're not treating animals nicely. You might think you are. Because, oh, look, they're getting treats. They're wagging their tail. It doesn't mean that they're having a quality life. It means that you think they are. Let them be. That's the quality that's real quality. Letting others be. Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you one more chance to redeem yourself here.
Like, okay, you just, I don't know, I've given you my argument. What do you think? How do you think animals will die normally? I know you say that we should
They
not
don't
have
have to
brought them
die
there in the
normally.
first
They don't
place,
have to die at all. They don't have to exist at all.
but they will die.
All
They will
this
also
cycle
die
of
in
torture,
nature.
this cycle of death and torture that you're providing the world doesn't have to exist. It doesn't have to exist this way.
But there is none. They
There
live a
is,
quality
man.
life.
But
Have
look,
you seen it? Like,
the
I
fact
don't
is
know.
that 90 billion animals around us are dying because people started doing what you did. People started
Ethical
having
farming?
farms. It's not ethical, ma'am. It's not fucking ethical to enslave somebody on a farm. It's never ethical. I don't care how you treat them. You're still killing them. You're still treating them like objects.
You don't care how we treat them, so you don't care about their welfare.
No, I do care about the welfare. That's why they should be in sanctuaries, not on the slaughter table. Okay?
But
so this is the problem. You are causing them to die, short lives, bringing them into existence such that this process would have to continue when we want to stop it. That's not simple. The animals don't have to be bred for us to live. They can just let them be.
But they will have worse life in your wilderness or nature. What do you imagine?
They won't have a worse life. They won't be in nature. You don't have. There are no wild cows. There's no wild pigs in nature. The ones we domesticate.
So you think ethical farming it cannot happen? You cannot have a cow that has a quality
vegan.
life because
the only ethical farming is organic farming. Nobody involved except for plants.
I don't know. I mean, I cannot agree with that.
Well, I'm sorry, man, but you have not justified the way you harm animals and kill them. You have not justified that.
Well, yes, I try to not let them die from natural causes, and I try to
Okay.
give them quality
But
life.
let's replace this with humans. And every time it sounds ridiculous and terrible. And you would agree it's terrible.
Yes, because it's not comparable.
Why not? Why is a child not comparable to a cow?
I would not like to go there, just because I'm not prepared and I don't want to answer that. I just wanted to say that I think ethical farming, I think mass production is wrong, and we should prevent animal cruelty. And I think veganism is good in that sense that prevents animal cruelty.
If you think it's wrong to mass produce animals, why are you producing them?
Because it's quality life. You have not seen it. They
It's
have
not
place,
quality of
they
life.
have
It's
food,
not quality
they
of
have
life. It's
time,
not
they have
quality of
roof.
life. Stop. Shh. You keep saying it's quality of life, but you're killing them. Again, I can treat my kid perfectly fine up to they're 7 years old and then kill them. That wasn't quality. That was exploitation. Don't you get it? And you're so disconnected from reality. You're so disconnected from the animals.
I don't know. I mean, I'm the person who sees
You
the
would never
animals.
do this to. You would never do this
treat
to a
them right.
person.
I don't know.
You would never do this to a person, but you do it to the animals.
That's right.
Because you. Yeah, that's right. But you don't have an argument that justifies that. It's
because
not
I
right.
cannot communicate with them. The cow cannot say to me that, okay, it's sick and it's old and it does not want to live.
Wow.
It just suffers. It just suffers.
Wow.
Do you want it to suffer?
Okay, great. No, jackass. That's not what I fucking
Why
said.
do you don't want it to slaughter them?
That's a straw man. I never said that. What I'm saying is, you are the one putting them in that situation in the first place. You are the one causing this to happen. Why? We want to stop it. You want to continue killing and slaughtering these animals. And you call it ethical. You would never do this to a person.
No, you don't want them to exist at all. We want them to have a life, but a good. I know it's never really the best ever, and we can always improve, but
Yeah,
we do
you
really.
can improve by going vegan and stop doing this to these animals. Just stop it.
I don't know. I'm.
I might.
Hi.
You stressed out?
Yeah, people just make me sick sometimes. People think that
Yeah.
it's okay to slaughter animals because they raise them nicely and then they kill them for meat.
You convinced me to go vegan. So you are making a difference. So don't think you're not. You're changing something. At
Yeah,
least.
I know, but it's not about me, it's about others. But yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the what was it, the interstellar thing from like 2 weeks ago that I couldn't grasp. You got time?
Okay.
Yeah, so you were saying that like when he was in the Tesseract, everything was basically happening at the same time because time isn't really a thing, right? Essentially.
No, the Tesseract was a 4-dimensional object. Now,
right.
We live in 4 dimensions, 3 of space, 1 of time. Time is a real thing. It's just that we don't see time as a physical dimension. We see time as a background noise, right? The ticking of a clock. But that's not how time really exists on a 4-dimensional way. In 4 dimensions, all of time already exists. Because we can imagine every instant, every second that passes as one dimension, right? One timeline. So this timeline, imagine this timeline like we imagine the length or width or height of an object. It's all there, right? So all of time can exist as a 4-dimensional object. Does that make sense?
I think time really kicks my ass. Like that's one of the things that I'm like word.
Yeah.
I just time is hard. So when I said, is everything technically the present? You said no, not at all, because it wasn't like time traveling. But that's why I said, is everything like the present, because it's all like happening at the same. Like he was in her room when he wasn't in her room.
Yeah, because
Everything
all of time exists simultaneously. It's not that present, everything's present. What it means is all of time, what we call our past, what we call our future, already exists.
Oh, so it's not like the I don't even know how to put that into words. Yeah, I think I go. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's not the present. It's
Just like, look, just like all the space exists, right? If I told you where's Jupiter, you know where it is. It's there. Same happens to time on a fourth dimension. And from a fifth dimensional perspective, all of time exists.
not at once, but it exists. Like it just
It
exists.
exists at once. It exists all the time. What we call past and future exists simultaneously.
But it's not considered. The word present isn't the right word for it, though, right?
The present is our subjective
Right.
experience of time, but
Mhm.
but time on a higher dimensional level exists statically.
Yeah.
So that it
Okay.
all exists at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I did get what you were saying, but I didn't understand what I was implicating by using the word present. I think that was the issue.
So when he was in the Tesseract, he was seeing the past.
Mhm.
So the Tesseract, Cooper was not seeing a four-dimensional perspective. He was seeing a three-dimensional perspective because we cannot see four dimensions. We only see three. But he was on one of the edges, one of the faces of the four-dimensional Tesseract, because each face of a Tesseract is a cube. It's weird. It's weird. But just like every side of a cube, a three-dimensional cube is a square, two-dimensional. Every side of a four-dimensional cube is a 3D cube.
Yeah.
So Cooper was on a three-dimensional face.
I'm
Cooper
sorry.
he was on a three-dimensional face, able to see certain aspects of Murphy's room in the past, and the aliens or the future humans produced and constructed the Tesseract to connect with her room in that specific time.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That was another thing though that was confusing me about it, because like, who are these fifth dimensional beings? Are they humans from way, way farther in the future, or were they actually like some type of aliens?
It's open-ended. I think they're just future humans, but there's no necessarily right answer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it is a movie. All right. Well, that's all I want to ask you.
Okay. Hope it
All
helps.
right. Adios. Bye.
Yo, I got a justification for veganism or eating meat. We got the Bible. And plus, where am I supposed to get my protein from?
Are you being a troll or are you serious?
Nah, I'm being for real. Like, where am I supposed to get my protein from?
Plants.
But doesn't tofu increase estrogen? Give you man boobs?
Nope, that's nonsense. Soy is very healthy for you.
Is what?
Healthy for you.
Oh. But I've seen people that have, like, had estrogen, like, increase in their body from eating soy products, like, what's it called? Tofu.
How do you know that that the tofu made them grow breasts? How do you even know that?
Because they said that, like, when they started eating, soy-based shit, that's what happened. And is vegetarianism good enough?
That's anecdotal. That's not evidence at all. That's just somebody said this, therefore I believe it.
If I'm vegetarian, is that good enough? Because you're not killing anyone.
No, it's not good enough. Look, do you think it's okay to harm an animal if you don't have to?
Of course not.
So then go vegan. It's that simple. Then go vegan.
But if you're a vegetarian, you're not killing any animals, though.
But you're still harming them.
If you get milk from a cow, you're not killing anything. Like,
okay, if I went up to a person and I started milking their breast, would that be harm?
Yeah, but you're not killing them.
It's still harm. right? That's the point. You might not be killing an animal necessarily, although you could be, but it would still be harming them, because milking an animal is still harming them sexually. Okay. So just like we don't want to harm people, we don't want to harm animals. Same with eggs. Eggs produces a lot of nutrient deficiencies in chickens and hens. Their bodies cannot hold their own weight anymore because all the nutrients are leaving their bodies through the eggs that we force them to produce. Their bones break under their own weight. It's disgusting what we're doing to these eggs, to these chickens and cows.
Forcing them to produce? What you mean? Like
what?
Forcing them to produce? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, we force them. We inject them with hormones so that they produce more eggs and they get fatter. We're forcing them to be our product.
Like, isn't eating meat the circle of life? Like, that's how it's always been.
It doesn't have to be anymore, though.
What do you mean?
We don't have to eat meat anymore, sir. 2024, we have stores now.
Okay, I'll be a vegan then. See ya.
Good. I'm tired. But hope you guys enjoyed that live. No such thing as free range eggs. They don't exist. What does that Carl Sagan poster say? It says, our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. It's up to us. Yeah, one of my favorite quotes from him. Animals do show compassion. Yeah, and his body is made of stars, galaxies. It's a galaxy full of stars. So his face has stars in it, star stuff. Guys, if you're gonna say that animals would eat us or they would harm us, you got it all wrong. We are the most dangerous animal on the planet. We are the most dangerous animal. 90 billion every year we kill. We enslave them. We farm them. We are the most dangerous by far. More dangerous than gators and crocodiles and snakes and elephants and lions. Humans are the most dangerous animal. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. Thanks for being here, supporting. I don't even work out that much. You just make so much sense. Yeah, because I learn my shit. You educate yourself. You learn. That's the beauty of being human. Like, I'm human. I can learn things, so I do it. Because fuck. That's what makes I have responsibility. I have this particular brain, I have this particular voice. Use them. Why would I let them go to waste? Use them. I'm not going to waste my life. I'm going to use what I have. And that's what science is to me. That's what veganism is to me. It's the utilization of what I have to help for other people, to benefit others. It's not about me, it's about others. Never about me. It's about other people, other animals. Although I do love discussions, I care about other people, care about other beings. Because why? Because I enjoy life so much. I love life. It's amazing. So I don't want to harm others. I want to make sure others have a good life. Because the more you learn, the more you appreciate things. It really is true. Every time I learn something, my appreciation for the universe grows. It's quite amazing. Yeah, so I live, I love, I learn. And I've learned to let go of all those ideologies that stop you from thinking freely. I lost a couple debates. What was the argument that defeated me? Go ahead, let's hear it. What was the argument? What is it like to not exist anymore? It's nothing. You don't exist anymore. Q-Top has destroyed me. Oh, really? What was his argument that destroyed me? Go ahead, give it. I'm not scared to be wrong. Man, everybody's too focused on the win-lose thing, which is, yeah, I understand that winning and losing is important to some degree, but look, I'm honest too. If I'm wrong, show me where I'm wrong. Show me where. If I can't answer, I'll say I don't know. Or if I'm wrong, I might be stubborn a bit, but I'll say, fuck, you're right. Let me change. I'm not going to sit there and go, no. I'm open to being wrong, but don't just say it. Show it. That's the hard part. He made an explanation that justified God's existence. It's not an argument. Was not an argument. Good job, Nate. Good for you. Appreciate you. The argument that you deflected from. Which one? What is it? Which one is it? Tell me. See how easy it is to say I'm a bad person, I lost, I'm dumb. That's easy. It's hard to show me where I lost. Q-Top debunked it. Great. Which one did he debunk? Does anybody hear the argument yet? Did anybody get the argument yet? Anybody? Anybody see it in the comments yet? Anybody see it? I'm still looking. Maybe one day we'll find the argument. Guys, look. I'm sure I was wrong somewhere in my past. I'm sure I'm wrong. I was wrong at some points. But the main ideas I hold to are based on evidence. They're based on something, at least. And if I'm wrong on a particular subject, I'm not scared of being wrong. But don't just say I'm wrong. That's dishonest. Show me where. I watch your YouTube debates. You lost. Where? Where? Being vegan is too extreme. Oh yeah, it's too extreme to not harm them. So let me go ahead and stuff animals in gas chambers. That's not extreme. And then let me go ahead and get a triple heart bypass with all the artery clogging in my veins. That's not extreme. So none of that's extreme. But what's extreme is to not harm the animals. Makes no sense. Hashtag where. You don't even eat eggs. Yeah, because eggs are harmful for chickens and hens. Do you guys not know that we grind live chicks? We literally grind living chickens. We grind them in a grinder. What's up, Case? How are you? Yeah, Q-Top was on a fucking crazy rant today, bro. He was going literally crazy. Like, he needs help big time. Big time. What is your opinion on deism? Honestly, deism makes less sense than theism. Because a deist will say that the universe exists, but there's a God, but he doesn't interact with us. Like, that wouldn't make any sense, right? It makes more sense that there is a God that's personal, that cares about us, than one that just makes the universe and then retires. But again, it's harder to disprove deism. It's easier to debunk many theistic ideas. But I just think that deism doesn't do anything important that theism can't. Science has a bunch of theories. Yeah, theories are good. You want a theory in science. That's like the best you can do. If you have a scientific theory, you're on top of the world, guys. Like you're doing good. What is string theory? It's a very complex thing, but essentially it's the notion that on a deeper level, deeper than even quarks and protons and electrons, deeper than that, there's a fundamental nature to objects in the world, to matter, and perhaps even space and time itself. There are vibrations of quantum fields, one-dimensional, two-dimensional objects that are vibrating. They have different frequencies, and those different frequencies give rise to different objects, give rise to different space and time and gravity, perhaps. Very, very difficult and hard to understand, but that's essentially what it is. It's just a fundamental theory of reality. It's very interesting, but I don't understand it that much, to be honest. I really don't. Do you think God created the Big Bang? Nope. I don't believe in God. It's not a real thing. Simulation? I don't know about a simulation. I mean, what's the difference between a simulation and a universe? Right? Like, what's the difference, really? Thank you, Tara, for following me. Married? No. Definitely not. Marriage is a scam. Kids? Maybe one day. Yeah. I do want them soon, actually. But marriage? Ew. Marriage is a scam. Well, I forced my kid to be vegan. You can't force somebody to be vegan. That makes no sense. Thoughts on the Iliad argument? That's my thoughts. It's hilarious. It's laughable. So it's a false dichotomy. It's a black and white fallacy. It's also a non sequitur. So it gives us two options: either space time is eternal, or some other being or God did it. That's not at all what. And then it says, "Oh, space and time cannot be eternal because you can't have an infinite regression." That's not true at all. Like that's just there's so much wrong with it. It's basically like a Reddit tier theist argument. You should start a religion, maybe. What's the purpose in life? There is no purpose. That's the beauty of it. I don't want a purpose. I want to make purpose. I don't want to be given a purpose. I want to generate it, right? I want to make people's lives better. I want to do something worthy. I don't want to sit there and go, okay, what's my purpose? Okay, to worship God? It's ridiculous. I want to make purpose. I want to generate it. I want to author purpose. I want to do things that are purposeful, right? I want to help people. I want to learn about, I want to discover things. I want to enjoy the world. Change people's lives, right? Do great things. Discover great things. Invent great things, right? That's my purpose. Things that actually help the world around me. And everybody's so focused on waiting for some cosmic wizard to come down and give us a purpose. Why? Think about it. If that thing existed, it's clearly not important. We can still live our lives and be just fine without that cosmic purpose. Why even care about that? Why not just do it on our own? Why not us bring the purpose to reality instead of waiting for reality to bring it to us?